So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one.
Yep. Hey, yo.
Hey.
Hey, back in the box with Marit.
Yo. Yes.
So, what's happening?
Oh, thoughts.
So much?
Thoughts, so much
Yes.
thoughts.
Woof.
And thinking about thinking thoughts.
Oh.
I'm thinking I'm not thinking thoughts. And then realizing I'm thinking about not thinking, meaning I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And it's driving me nuts.
Yeah. That's it. Have you ever been in one of those changing rooms with the multiple mirrors? And you just see the mirrors forever, ever. No?
No.
Never been there?
I haven't been to that store now.
Okay. Because it's amazing. Like you see yourself in the mirror, but you see yourself seeing yourself in the mirror and see yourself seeing the mirror.
I've seen it in the movies. Isn't it the Matrix where you go in?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. Right? And all you need is like one of these three-sided mirrors that are a little angled and you get like the infinite look at yourself there. It's pretty wicked. And that's the mind. The mind cannot be controlled, cannot be stopped. And everybody's like, I can control my mind. I can make my mind do what I want. Meh. For a very short time.
Yes.
It's like holding the wind.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. And the thing is that people make one big mistake. And they think that if I meditate a long time, I'm going to stop having thoughts.
I want an empty mind was one that said to me.
Yes.
I want an empty mind. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, right?
If you, wow.
But the reality of the situation is that there's a space between each thought, which is nothingness. It's not like every thought goes 100% next to each other in one rant, but you basically are jumping from one thing to the other. But every time you jump in between those thoughts is this space. And then when you meditate, what happens is you find that spot in you, in your mind, that is empty. And that's transcendence. So it's not like you take all of these thoughts and you're going to put them in a bottle and make them behave.
No,
because that does not work.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's very confusing and a lot of thoughts. And the people that have been with us from the beginning know that the last first 30 episodes was basically about Marit's emotional journey.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, very powerful stuff, very heavy stuff, a lot stuff.
Very successful stuff.
Yeah, and afterwards, yes. But now I'm in the mind. Not still having emotions, but I'm kind of, I will not say have control over them. I have my emotions on the outside, like Jason said the other day, which this was just a perfect example of. And I don't know if I ever will not have that.
Yeah,
I'm not, and that's fine. But I see my emotions much more, and I managed to deal with them and see. Oh, that tiny dog came up. Now, Fido, sit down. It's not your time. I need Bob over here to act. So you sit, please, and I'm gonna take him for a ride instead. But and we worked on thoughts from the beginning and mind and how to think and how to kind of see thoughts. But right now I'm in the thoughts. Like we say, you are angry. Right now I am thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
And to see that gap between every thought is very difficult right now.
Yes.
And I also see that when I'm in this spin, I also get more anxiety, and then I have to deal with anxiety. So usually I just yell stop inside, like stop it, like stop. So everything freezes. Isn't it in in Harry Potter, the second one where you have the blonde one?
Yes.
What's his name? Do you know his name?
Oh, the evil one, or
the one that kind of takes people's memory and tells their story for them.
Oh.
Grindelwald. No, not Grindelwald. No. Okay, we have a lot of
some
movie
research.
Yeah, and we have this. We have our movie fanatics out there that listens to the podcast.
So send in the guy's name,
and they always correct me when I say the wrong name or phrase. But I want that name. But at least in that movie, in the second Harry Potter, you have all these tiny evil fairy thingies that start flying around, and they do like a spell, and they just freezes and start to float around.
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
No, I can't.
Okay, we need to watch the movie.
Yes.
Anyways, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just yelling, stop! And everything freezes. And then I try to find myself an empty rock inside my head and sit down there and breathe. And I say, okay, let's try this one more time. And then it works for a while, and then they just melt together again, and it's bees everywhere, and you're getting thrown around. Very frustrating.
Very, very cool. Very powerful.
Oh yeah, and I it's a part of the development. But man, that's a lot of thoughts, and it's so much thinking. And because I was thinking about not thinking.
Yeah.
And thinking that I was not thinking, and then thinking again yesterday. I couldn't sleep because of thinking, and I researched online, and I said it was 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are repetitions from yesterday.
Yep.
And 60% is negative.
For most people.
In general.
That's correct.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot of thoughts.
It's a lot of thoughts, and it's a lot of negativity, actually.
And it's a lot of repetitions.
Yes, that's it. And like we say, we survive and achieve through our copy-paste lifestyle. So your mindset, your perception, the mechanism of the way you look at things makes a difference. That's it. So if you're going to have 90,000 thoughts and 60% of those are negative, then you will probably have a negative tint on your life. Yes. Therefore, everybody's chasing what? They're chasing happiness. And the consumer idea is that if you just buy the car I'm trying to sell you, you will be what? Happy. But you buy that, then you're not happy because, again, 60% of the way you think is negative. Therefore, you're going to be unhappy again. And then what can they do? Sell you some more what?
Cars.
Products.
Watches.
Yeah, watches.
Never seen people as happy as the people that clean in commercials.
Yeah, I know. Oh, they're so happy. Oh, that cleaning detergent smells so fresh.
I'm like, I would have dog fur on that thing the minute after I clean it. He's everywhere.
Oh my God.
I will not look that happy.
Yeah, but he's an angel baby.
He's
welcome.
Baby.
He's welcome.
Not everywhere.
Okay.
But no, so I've been thinking a lot about thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm in my thoughts, and I'm getting crazy by my thoughts. And I'm not used to thinking consciously and seeing it that much. I'm used to either not being aware or having it from a distance. So starting to be aware of them are intense.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a head intensity where I before worked emotional intensity. Is head intensity is slightly different.
It is.
It's not. I won't say it's worse or better, but it's very different. And as you said, you said it a lot when I was working on the emotions that you're changing is better. I'm like, no, I want to go back to where I was.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it changed again. I'm like, I don't want to be here either.
I want to go back. Yeah, exactly.
But this emotion is better than the other one. No, it's not. It's unknown.
It's unknown.
It is unknown.
Yeah.
So I have tried because I see thoughts more and I think more conscious thoughts. The thoughts. I have the last week said the first thing I wake up, because Siv, your wife, she has a trauma releasing exercises group.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And we work a lot with, and our goal is also to get that a part of the integrated human at one point. So it's much to be excited about.
Yes.
But she mentions a lot about thought patterns and stuff there, and she says kind of how important it is what we say in the morning is, and how we speak, and what we like. We always talk about the weather being bad and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do one thing. First thing I'm consciously gonna think in the morning is, today's gonna be a good day. And it's so difficult.
Yeah.
It's amazing how difficult it is.
Mm-hmm. Because people, from an evolutionary standpoint, look for danger. They look for what's hard, difficult, cost energy. So we get up, and like I said, most people don't wake up going, oh my God. They actually use some time. They wake up and they're like, oh, and then they start to take on the jacket of, oh, fuck, I have to go to work. Oh, fuck, it's Monday. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What's today?
Oh,
what's today? What's today?
Exactly. And then they start looking and they catastrophize their day and don't realize that they just did unhappy. They just did, I'm miserable in my life. And that's because they're not looking at all the good things that are going to happen that day, because the good things are less important survival-wise than the dangerous things.
There are things you have to remember, be aware of, things you need to do.
Exactly.
That's what I see when I wake up. I wake up and I have like 3 seconds where it's empty. And then it starts spinning.
Yeah.
About today. What's today? What can we do today? How's today going to be? Oh no, it's cold.
Yeah.
And it starts just running.
Exactly.
So I have 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds to decide what angle.
Decide. Today's going to be a good day. And I've been too late some days, but I've tried before oh no, we started. Then I do the whole stop thing. I'm yelling it. I just don't want to yell into the microphone.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Because you warn me if you have to. I'll just...
Yeah, but people, they have earbuds in.
Yeah.
I'm screaming, stop.
Yeah.
Today's going to be a good day.
Yeah. And actually, because evolutionarily, we have these reflexes, and that's where we go. So we have to move from the survival mentality to the thrival mentality. Because if you're able to listen to this podcast, most likely, even if everything that's normal went sideways for you, you still have a pretty good day. People are like, no, that's not right. This guy cut me off in traffic. That's going to make your day bad. You helped 17 wonderful human beings to live a better life. You showed up for your family. You got to eat. You didn't freeze or overheat. And, if you look at all the things that were wonderful actually about your life, you have the clothes that you like and want. You got to hang out with people you feel are special. You had some challenge and you overcame some challenge. You learned something. Was it really a shitty thing? Like, was it a bad day?
Yes. Yes.
So where are the bears and the lions and the people being gutted in front of you? I mean, it just doesn't happen. People's heads aren't blowing up in front of you. I'm sorry, unless you're in Ukraine. Sorry, God bless. Yeah. But most likely your day, if you're listening to this podcast right now, is not so bad, even if yesterday was. So everything is, of course, relative. But when that's said, again, that survival to thrival mentality is so important because it's something that we can build now. But that's a different issue than having the thoughts going at like a chainsaw or like a machine gun, right?
Yeah, I feel it's a bee's nest.
Yes.
Or it's different because like my transition has been from before, and that's what I had experience of, and that was because I didn't see all the thoughts. But what I had an experience of was that they were more. If I found the nothingness, I was able to they kind of went by like clouds.
Yeah.
Like and then I would sometimes. And then during I was in meditation, and then during normal working days, I would think some thoughts. Mm-hmm. But now I'm starting to be aware of how many thoughts I didn't know I was thinking.
Exactly.
And it feels like a bee's nest in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm getting pulled everywhere. So I said when I worked with emotion, I felt like, again, I liked using movie references. I felt like, and the thing in Fantastic Beasts, you know, the black thing.
Oh yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like
you know the black thing in the first Fantastic Beast that goes because he can't kind of control his magic, or is allowed to express his magic.
Yes, he's not allowed.
So
it
kind of works also with emotions. If you think about it, that's how it felt in the heart. But the head, it's a bee's nest.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you get to ride one of the bees, and you kind of have a logical third turn, and it's you following it, and where you work, and then I'm working with something. But then all of a sudden I'm joining one bee, and then I jump to another bee, and I'm getting, and sometimes I hit the beehive, and I'm going, oh shit. So it's a lot of directions, new direction, buzzing, like chaotic.
Yeah.
As long as you're not following one bee, or I'm sitting in the middle of it.
Yeah.
If I'm following one bee, it's fine, because then it's a pattern. I see where I'm going. I'm working with something. Like, what if I go and you evaluate. But when you sit, you can see the bees passing by, and you can choose to engage with it or not, like in meditation. But then between those two, it's not quiet. And then I'm jumping on one bee to another bee, and I don't even know I was on a bee.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's the issue. I didn't recognize that I was on a bee, and I start thinking that, I don't have thoughts. And then you realize you were thinking that you didn't have thoughts, and then,
Exactly. And, is it okay if I talk a little bit about your process?
Well, that's why we have this podcast,
yeah,
isn't it?
Well, it's to share so much. Yeah, it's to share so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm an open book.
So, in the integrated human, we say what? We
up, down, inside, up.
Exactly. So up, down, up. It starts with up. And that doesn't mean starting from up. It means going up. And in the beginning, you kind of find yourself in your body. And just like, now there are different revolutions of this. First of all, as a baby, you kind of learn to deal with your body. You realize you have, oh my God, I have fingers, I have toes, I have legs and all this.
I have a nose.
I have a nose, and you're eating thing. Oh, that's my finger. Don't eat, understand me. But you don't understand I yet until you get to be about 12. But me, you understand, that hurt me when I bit that thing, which I find out later is my finger. So you kind of find your body, and then you start having emotional tantrums as a 3-year-old and terrible 2s and 3s and all this stuff. And you kind of work yourself through your emotional self. And then you start realizing that you can speak and you have to relate to others, and you start understanding what they're saying. So you kind of hit the different centers, right? And you get to a point when you're around 12 where you start understanding yourself in relationship to society. That's the I starts being developed. And then you start getting all the things that your mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers have loaded down inside you, and you have to start working with that. Now, your mothers and fathers and your teachers and preachers' job is to keep you from killing yourself because you don't know the rules. Mm-mm. But as soon as you become an adult, which is not when you're 12, by the way, you start learning how to basically lay down some of these dogmas, rules, laws that you learned before, and relate to the environment as an adult, as an aware, alive, choosing human being. And then if you end up killing yourself, it's on you. Okay? But at least you had the opportunity to become aware of your environment. And then you have to go through yet another process of basically going up. And that is, am I fully initiated in my body? Your jiu-jitsu process has been amazing. Now,
you should see me in the beginning.
It was so cute. You're like, I'm like, that muscle there. And you're like, what muscle?
And I have a lot of muscles.
Oh, you always
strong. I just have
strong.
no clue where to.
Yeah,
I see it. I have no clue how you're there. I couldn't. I had so much activation issues.
Yeah, like
I've
move
been
your
standing
body this way
in the office. Like I have a back office. I've been standing there kind of doing tiny crunches to the sides, hip,
putting finger here and like trying to activate so that you can move your
like
body
really
a certain way.
feeling,
Yeah.
finding that fiber, and it's
Yes.
really interesting.
Which is actually, by the way, the ultimate goal of any physical yoga, physical union. It is to fully initiate your relationship with your body. You are landed in your body. You are in the meat suit.
Yes.
Yes, and you can flow your emotional state, your emotional states, your mental visions, and your spiritual needs and visions into the body and make that happen. So that's necessary. Okay. So you graduated, bam, got that. You know, we're talking meddling in the worlds and such. I mean, it's a whole nother level of beast sitting next to me. You are amazing machine. Then
It's been many hours.
yeah, but you put in all that work.
Yes.
Then we hit the emotional states. First, you have to discover, even you, even me, even the teenage boys over there, they have emotions. And it's not just hungry, sleepy, and irritable. You know, we have a full range.
Even though usually I'm going to add it. He usually adds also horny to that for the young boys out there.
Yeah. What do we say, that they're sleepy, hungry, and horny?
Yes.
That's their emotional range, right?
Yes.
But they actually realize that they have sometimes little frustration and irritation and feeling lonely and all this stuff. And as they start to open up, their heart opens up like a flower, they feel suddenly that, wow, sometimes that's a little bit overwhelming. But you have to understand the range of the different emotions so that when it's appropriate to activate this muscle and you have to move your hips to the right, when it's appropriate to bring a certain energy to a situation in order to create a change, you can actually find that thing in you. It's not a random thing that pops up. The emotional states often, just like with the body, you need to rehabilitate some muscles that maybe haven't been activated and you need to get them going, and they're not maybe the same level as the rest of your body. If you like, an example of that is if you lift weights, you're very strong with the lifting directions, but as soon as you have to twist or turn in a way that you don't train, those muscles aren't as strong as your big back muscles.
Or if you have had an accident, which is a trauma,
yeah,
and have to rehabilitate the shoulder.
Exactly.
That takes time.
100%. Well said. And that's the same thing with the emotions, because we all have emotional trauma. And there's a lot of people out there going, that's not true. I don't have any trauma, Jason.
First of all, I don't have emotions.
Yes, I don't have any emotions.
Second, I don't have trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I actually have said that.
You actually said that.
I've actually said that.
I was like, wow, seriously? I was present when you got traumatized once. You know, I know that's not the truth, but people who have not been welcomed to work with their emotional states may not know that they've been traumatized. When you were a child, there was a time that your idea of the way the world was not the way the world was. And that's shocking. Anytime you got shocked, that is by definition a trauma. Okay? When you go into shock, that's a trauma.
You know, the time when grandma actually says no? And she meant it, and you don't understand who grandma is anymore?
Exactly. You're like, weird.
Yeah, because she's always said yes.
Grandma's
said, not mom. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. You know, what demon's taken over my grandma and said no to cookies? Like what the? Yeah. So you discover your emotions, you start working through your emotional trauma. But in all of this, all of that process, sometime or other, you also have to realize that, you know what? You're not your body, because in order to really work with your body, you have to actually not disassociate, my friends, but you have to understand that a body is a piece that is working for you, not you. Which means that if I got injured and I'm a little chubby for a period, you know what? I'm okay with that, because it's completely logical and a part of being injured. And I can't do anything about that. So why am I going to trauma around it? I'm not. I'm going to rehabilitate it, get in shape again, and live my life. And that's part of a cycle. The same thing with my emotional states. At some point, you realize that you are not your emotions, that you have emotions. You are not your emotions. And you need to get to that point so that you can start to channel that energy. And when you can channel that energy, when you realize that your emotional states are not connected to outside things, meaning that buying more shiny stuff is not going to make you happy in the long run. It may make you happy and excited just then when you pick it up from the post office, but it's not going to make you happy in the long run, because on the outside and on the inside, who is it that decides what's connected?
You do.
You do, right? So your happiness is on the inside. It's not on the outside. So when you work on that, you will find that you are not your emotions, and then you graduate.
Yay.
And you graduate to the head.
Yay.
Because here's the weird thing. Now, this is the weird thing. This is something that's very, very important to understand. I realized this connection when I was a young man by looking at the difference between a happy carpenter's tools and an angry carpenter's tools.
This is actually a story I haven't heard before.
Yes. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, yes, actually, yes.
Cool. So, as you know, my first time coming to Norway, I had to work for this guy. I was like a contractor, and I was putting up sheetrock in houses, and I got really good at that. I just did that for 4 months. I did nothing else, 12 hours a day, just putting up sheetrocks on people's ceilings and walls, and I could knock out houses like crazy. And it was two brothers that owned the company. One was just happy. This guy, he was never stressed out. Didn't matter how busy it was, because if he didn't get to it, he didn't get to it. He was working as fast as a person could work. I mean, there wasn't more he could put into it. And he wasn't either frustrated with what he didn't get done. He was just happy. He loved his work. He could turn around and look at the house every single day that he'd been working on and say, that's better because I was here. He knew that he was going to get paid for the work. It's easy. And he was always very clear with the people. He got, okay, this is what you want? Yes. You sure this is what you want? Yes. And they would make it. And if they were unhappy, he was fine, because they had agreed on what, and he gave them what they wanted. And that's it. It was a very achievable job. His brother was pissed. He was angry all the time. This guy was unhappy, ornery, combative. He just was arguing with everybody he could argue with. Would never argue with his brother because his brother just wouldn't argue, which also made him angry.
Of course.
And if you looked at the guy's tools was wrecked, because he would throw the hammer down, and he didn't, he'd just throw stuff in the car, and he would drive too fast, and think the car got more banged up. Because they had two cars, they were mobile, and they sometimes worked together and sometimes didn't. And the wear and tear on the angry carpenter's tools in his car was way more. The tires were more worn out. I mean, because he was peeling out, and, he was just an angry dude. Did everything explosively and angry. So I could tell what brother was there based on what bag of tools was laying outside. I could see on the hammer. I could see on the crowbars. I could see on the bag. Because, the happy carpenter put his bag down. The angry carpenter threw his bag down. And that makes a difference when you do it 300 times. Mm-hmm. Right? So whether you know it, your consistent emotional states have an effect on your physical body and the physical world. So you express your emotions, even if you don't even know you have the emotions. Because if I asked the angry guy if he was more angry than his brother, he'd probably say he wasn't. That he wasn't that conscious of the fact that he was angry and combative. He just thought people were assholes, right? Mm-hmm. Where the nice guy, the happy guy, he just thought everybody was nice. And of course, that's a reflection of his environment, and his environment was a reflection of his emotional state. So his emotional state had an effect on his body. And who do you think had more inflammations and issues?
The angry one.
The angry one, exactly, right? He had to buy tools more often, blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to know that you have emotional states in order to be affected by them. That's number one. Now we get to people who are highly emotional. Highly emotional people have lots of energy. Sometimes those people go through the inner process of becoming masters of directing that energy, and they become godlike. They become the great actors, the great artists, the great scientists. They become healers. They become movers of people. They become charismatic and magnetic. They become the people who you just want to stand next to because they just exude a presence. They walk into the room and don't make a sound, and people turn to look at them. There's something with that person, right? They're able to direct that energy, modify the frequencies. They have contact with their emotions. Now, this is interesting. Most people that are highly emotional are not so much aware of their bodies and also not so much aware of their thought processes, because the energy can sometimes be inward moving and sometimes is outward moving. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the emotional state, have you ever been so sad that you almost couldn't feel your body?
Oh, multiple times.
Yes. And you sometimes get so angry that you can't feel your body.
Even more.
Yeah, right. Right?
Anger is one of my dear fallbacks.
Exactly. And if you get happy, you also feel light like a feather. You feel you don't feel...
You do?
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. So, and also thought patterns. You're not necessarily, just like the angry carpenter was not necessarily aware of his anger, you're not necessarily aware of your thought patterns. If you ask a person, why are you feeling so frustrated right now? And they go, I don't know. That's because the feeling of frustration is so insane, it's so intense, that they're not able to give anything else attention except for the feeling. But that feeling of frustration, of course, comes from a thought pattern. It becomes, I wanted it to be like this, but it's like this. Or I expected this. And that's not, I'm free to be me and I just have emotions that come and go. That's not the way it works, friends, because it goes from your higher self to your lower self, whether you know it or not. Unfortunately, right? So
it would be very nice if it didn't.
Right.
You have to actually be conscious to make that happen. The issue is it happens no matter what.
It happens no matter what. So a lot of the things that we think and the expectations we have are geometric patterns of thought that we have absorbed from our environment, our mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers, right? You know, that time that, oh, bad Jason. Oh, shame on you, Jason. Oh, you shouldn't have done that, Jason. Oh my God. Oh my God. And all of those things imprint themselves as memories and constructions in your mind that when the thoughts start to run, they run through these different filters. And these filters will then change into emotions and frequencies, then hit your emotional state, which become energized, and then they manifest themselves in their bodies and basically the world. So when you've graduated from the emotional work and you start hitting the mental work, you realize, holy shit, it's like catching the wind. The mind does not stop, and it really loves your attention, meaning that it'll just play its own thing to get your attention. It'll just do all kinds of crazy stuff like bees, like a beehive. The way most people quiet it down is they give the mind something to do.
My answer was something completely different.
Yeah, tell me.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well,
but
I'm just
give
saying
it something to do.
Yeah,
yes.
most people give it something to do until they're too exhausted to keep thinking, or at least they fall asleep, or it becomes a little quieter, right? The issue with this is sometimes that does nothing but strengthen it, because it's like, ooh, I got attention. I'm gonna do this more because I get more attention.
You give the kid attention when he did something it shouldn't.
Exactly. So one way that many people have learned to go to sleep that have sleep issues is to actually engage the mind in something horribly boring, which is and now this is for free, my friends. This is one of those techniques that they've been using for years to help people with insomnia. You imagine yourself in front of a blackboard and you have a piece of chalk. And for you guys that are, under 20, yeah, chalk's what you write on a blackboard with. It's not an iPad with a Apple Pencil or whatever, So you write the number 100 and you make a circle. And then you take the eraser and erase it and then write 99 and make a circle. And then erase it and then 98. And you count backwards as far as you can. And they've done research and almost nobody can get to 70 before they're asleep. It's because it's so horribly boring. And you kind of use your mind's impulses to kind of wear it out.
Yeah, I use that technique also.
Yeah.
Except because at least I usually don't have issues sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite hobbies. But when I do, I try. But the issue is sometimes the head is so busy that you forget what you were doing, and then you a bee took you. And then you go, where's the blackboard? Wait, and then you have to start over again at 100.
Exactly.
And you try again, and I found if I do it 3 times and I'm just a bee takes me every time, it's gonna be a long day.
Yep.
Because it's then my body is not sleepy, my head is not sleepy, my emotion is not sleepy.
Yeah, exactly.
But it works really well when I'm tired and it's only in my mind.
Yes.
Then it works really good.
Exactly. And this is actually the reason why people don't kind of give this enough cred. But why is it that mantra meditations with, like, for example, a rosary or a mala bead set is so good? And that is that you're giving the body something to do. So it's kind of engaged. You're giving your emotions something to do because you're supposed to be emotionally engaged with that mantra. And then you're going to say a mantra that's just long enough that it's not just like ding, 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 the same thing, because the more the same it is, the easier it is to get pushed off and to get caught by a bee. So usually the mantra is going to be some syllables. And then, of course, the mantra has other aspects to it. But this is why there are different ways to meditate. And at the meditation events, we teach people different tools to meditate or to enhance their personal performance so that they can actually access the benefits of each of those kinds of meditations. So when your head is spinning like a mofo, mantra meditation with a rosary is freaking amazing because it's very concrete, it's doable, and it's just long enough to keep you engaged so you kind of know you're doing something. It's not like ling, 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 ling. I'm in Jakarta and now I'm in New York eating ice cream and I wanted to go to Rome. Oh my God, we're off. Another fascinating thing is when you're starting your thinking, do you notice that the thoughts aikido themselves? Meaning that it's not like random. You start somewhere and it just evolves and goes and changes itself.
That's one of the different. It's actually mine does both right now.
Okay. And
that's why it's a mess. Because I'm used to the aikido.
Yeah.
That's normal. But I actually experience both.
So do you experience things just coming out of nowhere and hitting your brain? How do you experience that? I
try to just explain it with the bee thing.
Well, the bee thing's very good.
Yeah,
but
that's how.
Where are the bees coming from? Are they coming from the inside of your brain,
or doing their thing in that hive and just running around or flying?
Okay,
I have no clue where they're coming from. It's coming from every directions.
Yes, and from inside you or from outside you?
Both. It's a total mess.
Wow, that's going to be fun to figure out.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. And do any of them find their way down to your emotional states?
Both yes and no. Usually because it's so chaotic, when it does, it becomes anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's when I really hit the stop button.
Yeah.
Because I don't need that. And I know how to deal with my anxiety, so I work with it. But I try to stop it from ending up there. Because for me, it's anxiety, panic attacks is kind of... I try not to have them.
Yes.
I've had enough for a lifetime. So I'm trying to then, when I see they go down, that I put on the brakes and I stop. Because I'm more conscious about my emotions than my thoughts. It's easier for me to see when they go down.
You have way more practice with your emotions than you do
so
with your
I
thoughts,
manage, then it's the let's stop it now.
Yeah.
And then it resets itself.
Good.
And then then it can start working again. But then I have some times before it starts going down again, and then I push the emergency button again. And I pull it, and I will stop again, and then it's a lot of, I feel like a train.
Why do you think that anxiety is the emotion that comes with this beehive of thoughts?
Because my anxiety comes from override, and it's too much.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm feeling I can't cover stuff.
Yeah.
Either it's a feeling of I'm not enough, I'm not big enough, I can't stretch myself enough, or it's I'm getting drowned, like you almost like waterboarding. Isn't that what it's called?
Yep.
Getting the torture method.
Yeah.
That's it depends the situation, but it's just I can't. It's too much. I can't. I don't know. It's too overwhelming. It's too much is kind of a very small word on the experience, but it's too much in different.
It goes beyond a certain threshold.
Yeah. And it's the threshold is not necessarily. It's never in my experience. It's never real. It's kind of like the carpenter you talked about. He could turn around and said, "I did everything I could today."
Yeah.
And you did everything you could, but for some reason you have this thought that you should have done more. I should be able to stretch myself more. And if you look at the fact, to see you covering everything you can possible as a human being without destroying yourself.
Yeah. And even if you had destroyed yourself, you may not have. Yeah.
But you have the feeling that you still should be able to do it.
Yes. And that is one of those geometric thought constructions that came from your mothers and fathers and teachers and preachers, because kids won't naturally sacrifice themselves or do anything that's boring. As soon as they're bored, they do something else. So you have to kind of civilize them and make them focus and concentrate. But when you, again, are aware and very conscientious, good person like you are, you're an amazing worker, you're a fantastic colleague, you're basically Superwoman. Okay. So when you are,
to be.
well, you are, no, you are. So you're Superwoman. And then you're in a situation where this old construction, where one of your teachers at some point said, no, you're not, you have to apply yourself, or you're not, this is not good enough, or
you need to prioritize. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, exactly.
I am.
Like, we're doing every possible thing at this point, right? When you get to that point, to be able to just let it go is hard, because that construction continues to be a subconscious kind of beacon. It's like beep, 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 beep. So every situation that comes where you're evaluating your work, beep, 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 it's saying, hey, not enough, should do more, should have accomplished more.
Yeah, and it usually happens, and if it's just one thing, you kind of go, no, sit down, it's fine. But it's usually when you hit different things, that you're dealing with something, someone said something, it could be the side comment, and you get layered.
And when of 90,000 thoughts a day, 60% of them are negative, how many beep beeps, beep beeps, beep beeps could you have, right? And that's why. And the faster it goes, I mean, is anxiety a slow emotion or a fast emotion? If you were going to pick.
I feel it's both, actually.
Well, it may slow you down, but
it's the experience is intense, so that's high.
It's
kind of a big, slow, intense dog.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's like a Rottweiler.
It's Rottweiler all over. Yeah, but it usually happens when people are putting too much energy in you, or there's too much energy in a situation.
And you feel it really pushed up in a corner.
You pushed up in a corner. There's too much intensity, too much energy in a situation, then anxiety pops out, or panic.
Yeah.
That's
I get
also,
panic then anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. So how is it that we work with this? Like I said, you can either give the mind something to do, or the next part of that is that you can do the funny animals in the sky trick. Have you ever laid down on a nice grassy field and looked at all the clouds?
Yes.
And you start seeing all the weird faces and animals that come up in the cloud shapes.
Yeah.
Of course. The same thing, as we start to sit and feel our breath, we can look just like we are looking at the sky and watching these beautiful clouds move past. We can watch our thoughts. As long as we are with our breath, you'll notice that you can watch your thoughts as long as you don't start getting engaged in them. If you jump on a bee and start riding that bee somewhere, then they got you again.
And that's where I end up when I yell stop.
Yes, exactly.
I yell stop. I cling to my moksha.
Yes.
Like, where's the breath?
Where
breath? Are you?
Yeah.
And I breathe like, I don't breathe fast, but I'm so full. Okay, there you are. We're good. But the issue for me right now is that I don't get to sit and look at the clouds for very long until it takes me again. But that's the experience I have when I pull the emergency or yell stop or I say enough.
Yes. And it's that repetition of stopping, contacting your breath, and watching those thoughts float by just as if they were clouds in the sky. Because what's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to be able to return to that state faster because you get repetitions, just like doing sit-ups, you get a six-pack, right? And you also will start noticing that there's something behind the thoughts. And that's the place where the silence is.
Such a nice place.
It's amazing.
Just a lot of thoughts between me and that place right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think I'm very lucky because I've been there before.
Yes, you have.
I've been there a lot. I know where I'm going.
Yes.
It's just that right now it's and I try all the shortcuts, but going over and going around, and like now we're gonna get through this. Like everything else, we're gonna swallow that elephant whole this time as well. And
oh my God. Yeah.
do it. But it's
get it done.
It's and I just have, but the yelling stop, and I'm really putting my foot down. That stops it, and then you get to that place where you're gonna sit inside your head. You're gonna breathe, and you're gonna watch the bees, watch the skies, and so let's see where we end up at the end there.
Now, why would a magnificent athlete, colleague, speaker, author, motivator like Marit, why would she even bother to do all this work?
Because you have 90,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are unconscious.
Yes.
That's not good.
That's not good.
That's
and
really not good.
Are
negative.
Yes.
You can't have that.
You can't have that.
And I see these patterns coming up. Like the other day I told you, like I said, I had the sickest thought ever. Like, you guys asked me what it was. I said, well, apparently I can't progress if I'm not suffering. That's horrific.
It's fucking horrible.
And I know it's a thought.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a thought construct.
It's like so many of them. Yes. And I start, what is that thing? And in Norwegian we have a saying, "Skjerp."
Yeah.
Like really.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull it together. Like, you understand that's, and I have worked enough with the mind to understand that everything I think is not the truth. It's a lot of stuff in there. It's a lot of trash, and it's a lot of patterns. So I don't necessarily believe every thought that I have. So I question them.
Yeah.
When I'm aware.
Yes.
So this was one of those. I'm like, that's sick.
Because we want to be happy, but we're not progressing unless we're suffering, which means that as we're either not progressing or we're suffering.
And
Both of those exclude happiness.
And I have decided that I need for progression.
Yes.
So, well, then we're going to suffer then all the time, because when I'm not suffering, I'm not progressing, and not progressing is not what I want. So let's go back to suffering.
Exactly.
And then I have the whole shebang all over again.
That's it. And it's, by the way, you and Aristotle that talked about that. Because
me and him have a club together.
That's it. You hang out and drink coffee and such.
Red wine.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
Red wine. Does he like good red wine?
No.
No? Like the cheap stuff?
Yes.
Ah, that's good. He's not an expensive friend.
No.
Yeah, but Aristotle, he talked about how the purpose of life is not, in his way, happiness, though yes, happiness. It's something more than happiness, but that was based on growth, on progress, that you want to see yourself progress. That's happiness. That is, and so, when you have progress is suffering is progress, then you can't have happiness.
No,
right?
Not with that pattern.
Exactly. And that's that geometric shape that we're talking about that we get downloaded, and we have to clean all this crap up as we wake up. We become aware. We become real adults, not just grown up, but an aware adult. So well done.
Well, I'm halfway home.
You killed
as you said in one of the videos. You have half. No, what did you say? You said. I can't remember right now, but it was an amazing phrase.
Yes, I think something like well
done. Well done is halfway home.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm halfway home. Home is past that through those thoughts.
Yes,
the other side.
Exactly.
It's a very nice place over there.
And then we go to our spiritual constructs, and that's so beautiful. I can't wait.
I know that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be lit.
Yes.
All right. So remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day, and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.